Modern Horizons, the first of its kind. A special set printed with modern in mind. A special set that skips standard to go directly into modern legality, allowing for the kinds of cards that could never be designed for standard, could never be reprinted into standard. And as a modern fan and enthusiast, I could not be more excited to get a preview card for Modern from Horizons. My conversation with Wizards of the Coast went a little something like this. So I hear you have a Modern Horizons preview card for me. Actually, we have two. Oh my god! And they're both commons. Oh my god. Hey, we thought you liked Pauper. I do like Pauper, but I also like Modern a lot, and this is a Modern set. Well, too bad. You're getting two commons. Is one of them Oubliette? Nope. If Oubliette is in this set, you aren't getting it. You know, I've already done the joke about you giving me commons as my preview card. Twice. I don't really know what to do for this preview video. Well, you know, we were kind of hoping you could maybe talk about the cards instead of doing a dumb skit, but I like dumb skits. Fair enough, but can you know, maybe talk about the cards too this time? R&D designed them with Pauper in mind. R&D is designing commons with Pauper in mind? Yes, they are. Well, that is exciting. Well, you know how I do top 5 lists for the best cards for a format like Modern or Pauper? What if I were to release my list of the top 5 cards for Pauper for Modern Horizons during preview season and all 5 cards were brand new? How would you do that? Well, I figured you could ask R&D what they think the top 5 cards for Pauper from Modern Horizons are, and then I could preview those 5 cards. That's a fun idea. Yeah, and then I could scrutinize those picks and encourage my audience to do the same. You know, try and figure out whether you guys even know what you're talking about. Love it. I'll even invite Pauper experts Alex Ullman and Kendra Smith to offer their insight and analysis. You know, really put these picks under the microscope. So what do you need from us? I need you to go ask R&D for their top 5 picks for Pauper from Modern Horizons, and then I need you to give me those cards as my previews. Oh, I actually just asked R&D, and they want to give you 6. Wow, 6? Their top 5 picks and an honorable mention. So, is Oubliette in the set? I don't know. Okay then, R&D presents their top 5 picks for Pauper from Modern Horizons. So as I said in the dumb skit just now, these 6 preview cards were hand-picked by Wizards R&D as the most Pauper relevant cards from Modern Horizons. But are they really? I'll offer my insight as well as relay quotes from Alex and Kendra on these cards. But what do you think? Have you seen better commons for Pauper from Modern Horizons than these? Let's find out. Our honorable mention is Universal Automaton. Universal Automaton is 1 generic mana for an artifact creature shapeshifter, a 1/1 changeling. Honestly, as far as honorable mentions go, I would not have suggested this card. I can already think of half a dozen commons from Modern Horizons that I am more interested to play than this, which is essentially a metallic sliver that has the drawback of making my opponent's elf deck more powerful. I can see the line of reasoning with this card for Pauper. It's an artifact creature, so any tribal deck can run it, and it fits nicely into the 1 mana slot, so it helps a lot of tribes that maybe lack a good 1-drop. But since it doesn't have any further abilities such as flying or scry, it is reliant on tribal bonuses, which are pretty minimum in Pauper, except for, say, Slivers, which, as I said, already has a better version of this in Metallic Sliver. Checking in with Kendra Smith of this card, she writes, while an excellent callback to Tempest Classic Metallic Sliver, it's unlikely that Universal Automaton sees much play. Metallic Sliver itself sees infrequent play in Slivers, where there are constant static effects befitting it, but less so for decks like elves, fairies, or goblins, and she offers the grade of only a C+. While her colleague Alex Ullman offers, this card is a nice tool. It is never going to be an all-star, but will serve as a nice supplemental one-drop for fringe tribal strategies. Alright, the 5 main previews were not sent in any specific order, so I've ordered them according to my own evaluation. At number 5, I have placed a new red common called Magmatic Sinkhole. Magmatic Sinkhole is 5 generic and a red for an instant that reads, Magmatic Sinkhole deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, but it has delve, so theoretically you can get this off for just 1 red, which is nice. But since War of the Spark did not bring us any common planeswalkers, the relevance in Pauper is limited to just hitting a creature for 5. Being in red, direct damage is already our jam, with Pauper having more lightning bolts and fire blasts than you can shake a shaman stick at. Honestly, my biggest criticism is the lack of being able to hit any target. Would that be too good? Well, I do like to see cards pushed a bit. Delve on red is interesting, but not prone to an existing red delve Pauper strategy. Of this card, Kendra writes, looking at this card, you may think, is this something we really need in burn? You have tons of kill spells already, and this doesn't hit players. While all true, what this does deal with effectively are the hard-to-deal with creatures like Gurmag Angler, Dynrova Horror, Mnemonic Wall, a powered-up Elvish Vanguard, and many more. With how many spells you're slinging, playing this for 1 mana won't be difficult at all, and I expect to see plenty of play, though in small numbers, and she offers the grade of A-. While Alex adds, how good is Delve? This is not an early game card. It will compete with Harvest Pyre in controlling red decks, a good way to curate a graveyard for Haunted Fengraf. So coming in at number 4 is another red card. This one is Land Destruction. Woohoo! Harkening back to the early days of Stone Rain, and this card is Geomancer's Gambit. Geomancer's Gambit is 2 generic mana and a red for a sorcery that reads, destroy target land. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle their library. Draw a card. Let's compare to Stone Rain, the Pauper legal land destruction card that started them all, and Pillage. Stone Rain is 2 generic and a red, and Pillage 2 red and a generic for the destroy land effect, with Pillage bringing with it the option to destroy an artifact instead. Gambit replaces the land, but it must be with a basic land, and it also draws you a card, replacing itself. While this does not necessarily work towards a Ponza land destruction goal, it has a fantastic effect just controlling your opponent's mana base by getting rid of Tron lands, crew lands, and the like. Replacing itself is well worth the fact your opponents get to replace with a basic, and this greatly disrupts those mentioned decks like Tron. Of it, Kendra writes, I first read this and thought it was just a bad Stone Rain, but it's actually quite good. Cantripping is big game for the decks that want this, making it an effect even decks that don't normally play land destruction may want. Geomancer's Gambit is still a sideboard card at the end of the day, but a very good one that will crush Tron decks and those with bounce lands like Boros Garrison or Dimir Aqueduct. Grade she offers is a B+. While Alex adds, in the wake of the Blue Monday bans, there's fear Tron will reign supreme. Gambit helps to mitigate that fear. Its Stone Rain plus also has utility against Monarch decks that lean on non-basics like Boros Garrison. Alright, number 3 is a blink and you'll miss it card, but that's because it's a new blink card, bounding into Pauper. No, wait. Rebounding into Pauper, and that card is Ephemerate. Ephemerate is an instant for 1 white that lets you exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Rebound, which means if you cast this card from your hand, exile it as it resolves. At the beginning of your next upkeep, you may cast this card from exile without paying its mana cost. A new blink effect for Pauper with the added value of Rebound. Cloud Shift is now essentially irrelevant with this, but Cloud Shift was already irrelevant in Pauper because the real Pauper Flicker card has always been Ghostly Flicker, seeing play in everything from Rainbow Tron to blue-black control builds. While Rebound is added value, I don't think it makes makes Cloud Shift playable, as it does not offer the double target that Ghostly Flicker does. Of it, Kendra writes, Cloud Shift sees zero play in this vast format, but giving it rebound might make it a little more worth considering. Not hitting any permanent like Momentary Blink or similar definitely makes it less desirable, but will still likely show up with a nice play from time to time. Grade B-. Alex's evaluation is a neat effect, and giving it rebound makes it twice as nice. Neat on an evoked Muldrifter, but I'm excited to pair it with Tethmos High Priest. Ooh, that does sound spicy, Alex. All right, card number 2 is going to mutilate our foes, letting their corpses sink slowly back into the swamps they dared to defile. And that card is aptly named Defile. Defile is an instant for 1 black that reads, target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp you control. This is a directed mutilate that, while not cleaning the board, is some nice targeted removal for black. The major advantage, the reason this is such an extraordinary card, is that it's just a soul black mana, and that is highly advantageous. And unlike normal removal spells, there's no limit here into what you can hit. The only limit is just how many swamps you yourself have in play. For mono black control, that just means late game, you're going to take out any creature for just a black. That's super strong. I'm actually looking at this in those situations as a triggered fatal push. Both Kendra and Alex do seem to agree with me, writing, mono black control players rejoice. This is the best removal spell we probably could have hoped for, and will have a pretty sweeping impact on games. In long matches, this can even kill an Ulamog's Crusher with ease, though its main impact will be giving black decks a cheap, effective answer to the likes of Gurmag Angler. Mono black control loves this. Dimir Teachings control loves it. Dimir Delver likely plays it if they add more swamps. I expect this to have some far-reaching impact and can't wait to see where it lands. Grade solid A. Alex adding a great removal spell that scales with the game, a reward for being mono black. All in all, a fantastic addition to the format. Well, snap. Number 1, it's powerful, it's pushed, and it will finally bring this underappreciated color of Pauper to the front of the format, diversifying the colors we see in the format. I'm just kidding. It's a blue card, because of course it is. It is the overwhelmingly best card of this list. No dispute. There's no better card for Pauper from the entire set, and it's blue, because blue. Ban all the blue cards, then print more overpowered blue ones. Well, here we go. It's Fairy Seer. It's a fairy. Fairy Seer is a single blue for, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? 1/1 flying fairy, and when Fairy Seer enters the battlefield, scry 2? What a contrast to our honorable mention, the 1/1 changeling that does nothing. This card is powerful and pushed, and yeah, it's in blue. Pauper fairies have always had power thanks to cards like Spell Stutter Sprite and Fairy Miscreant, 2 commonly run commons in this format. Usually these are augmented into non-tribal builds like Mono Blue Delver, but with the recent bans, blue was depowered a bit, yet this card is right away putting the color back at the top. Kendra writes, fairies have always been great in Pauper, with Fairy Miscreant and Spell Stutter Sprite being a constant player in Delver decks. This will only further fuel the Spell Stutter strategy in these decks, while also being played in blue lists for years to come. It could even be the card that makes Mono Blue Fairy Control a very real deck. Grade A. While a stupefied Alex could only offer 2 words to emphasize the power here: Spell Stutter Sprite. So there you have the top cards picked by R&D for Pauper from Modern Horizons. You've heard our thoughts on this, but now I really want to hear from you. Are there commons from Modern Horizons you think R&D should have picked instead for this list? Which and why? What do you see as having Pauper relevance from this set, and where are those cards going to go? Let us know in the comments below. Special thanks not only to Wizards of the Coast for these preview cards, but to my special contributors, Alex Ullman and Kendra Smith. If you'd like to read more about Pauper from them, I've linked some of their fantastic content on the format in this video's description. And this video was brought to you by Card Kingdom, where now any pre-order of $25 or greater that includes at least one Modern Horizons sealed product will receive a special edition sticker sheet featuring 6 of the most popular modern archetypes.